So I'm on Facebook pimping my shows, and I get this email from somebody that says, "Hey, Wendy Woo, glad to see you're still playing. You know, I never cared for you much because you were always so negative." And what I wanted to say was, "Fuck you." But you know what I did?
I sound negative there.
So I didn't even respond.
The Colorado music scene, there's a lot of positive attention on the region right now, and I think people recognize there's a highly collaborative spirit, and it's making for some new original sounds that are really defining who we are as a state. So I think it's a really exciting time to be aware and to be immersed in the music scene here in Northern Colorado.
Well, so the last time we were in Golden, which was the night that the sound engineer was a dick, and that we had 3 bands, and at the end of the night they paid us $60 for 3 bands. So, I mean, if you know you're going to pay your bands $60, maybe you shouldn't be a dick during sound check. Like, you're going to do both? Be a dick and not pay me?
What was it I just read in Westward recently? They did a comparison between Austin and Denver and found out that Denver actually has more music venues putting on more music annually than Austin does, and yet Austin is the live music capital of the country, supposedly. And yet we put on more shows, more consistently, in more rooms in the Denver metro area than they do in Austin.
I mean, I do well, but you know, you drive an hour down here and you drive an hour back, so that's $40 in gas. And then if I didn't play solo, if I had brought my band, then I have to pay all those guys, so the overhead doesn't make sense. But I don't know, I mean, I guess if you do it and do it and do it and do it, and you get your $40 here and your $60 here and your $100 gigs, then I guess it adds up. It's probably easier if you don't have a family.
Wendy discovered the trick to this years ago. I think that, you know, as I've watched Wendy's career evolve over the last 15 years that I've known her, it's really been one where I thought she made the big significant push. She really went out like Nina Story and a couple of others and tried to make that push. And then with family and responsibilities, kind of settled down and stopped and looked at it and said, you know something, I don't need all of that when I have this in my own backyard. How do I take advantage of those opportunities? And I think she's done remarkably well. Probably my #1 shining light among all the artists I know. She is one that I point to consistently as somebody that other acts should emulate and look at and study what she does from a business point of view. Because to me, she's one of those acts like Chris Daniels and a couple of others who really gets acting at a very local and regional level.
Let's see if I get yelled at today. And then, so I don't pursue stuff very hard because I should pursue this. Because they called and asked if I wanted to play Meadowgrass on December 30th, and I was so obsessed about how many New Year's tickets I sold, I didn't even see the email till yesterday. And it's May 9th.
Meadowgrass golf? I've been trying to get you in that for years.
Meadowgrass called on December 30th and asked me to play. And I picked up the email yesterday. On my defense.
Yes.
You have to create something that people want. You have to have a product. You have to have something that people want. It's not just, you can be a jam band and you can play in the clubs, and that's fine and that's relevant and people enjoy that. If you want more than that and to make more money than that, then you really have to create your own sound, find your voice, and get out there and tour. You know.
Oh, at least you're always playing music. At least on the slowest nights of your work job, you're at least still playing music. This dark hotel room and the endlessness that you feel. You were gone from the wreckage of your silent reveries. You're in the arms of the angels. May you find some comfort.
look, the music's not the product. That's not the product. The record is not the product. Wendy doesn't sell music. She doesn't own a record store. She doesn't sell, the merchandise isn't the product. The product is Wendy.
I know, I say, I was the one who you elected away. I know, I say, I'm gone, back to where it's was. I'm gone, back to where it's was. I'm gone, back to where it's was.
How did your parents meet?
They met at a party in New York City. Probably everybody was taking LSD for the first time, and they all met on a bed with like 50 other people tripping on acid, apparently.
It's
Love
a
is in the
traditional love
air.
story. And they were students?
They were students. My father was a student at NYU at the time. Maybe my mother was doing her graduate program there as well. And my father was from the Philippines. My mother was from the East Coast. And there was just a whole bunch of different cultures coming together in New York City. Experimenting with drugs and art and poetry, and just kind of being in the heart of Manhattan in the 60s, in the 70s. Live in the 60s and the early 70s. I was born in New York City in 1971, and we lived there for a couple of years. And then my mom got mugged in Central Park, and so she wanted to move, so we moved to Mount Vernon, which is a suburb of New York, and my dad would take the train into the city instead. And then that was, they were following, there was a new school opening up in Boulder called Naropa Institute, and it was supposed to be a poetry school and an art school and a Buddhist studies school. And they came there and started the Tai Chi program. They were studying Tai Chi with Professor Cheng-Man Chang in New York City, and then they moved to Colorado and started their own school called Rocky Mountain Tai Chi, and they put the Tai Chi program in Naropa. And then my mom just raised me and my sister, and my dad would work. And somewhere when I was around 8 years old, my dad came home in the afternoon. My mom was partying with her friends, and he said, okay, no more me working, and your turn to get a job. So he quit his job finally, because I think he hated it, and she went to go work at Naropa as their summer administration. And that's where she got the idea to do the Jack Kerouac conference. So she wanted to bring all the surviving beats to Boulder. And I'm not sure what they were all doing, but they were probably all kind of lost at that time. And it was the 80s. It was the early 80s, and they were, probably not very rich or successful. The survivors were probably just still surviving. So I think it was an opportunity for them to come together and teach and party, and for people from all over the country, all over the world, to come and celebrate them.
So kind of a last hurrah for the Beats, maybe?
Yeah.
Is it that?
Yeah, I think so. Except they continued to hurrah after that. But Ken Kesey was there, and my mother loved it because she was on the phone getting all these guys to come and finding housing and creating the summer program where everybody would be teaching. Gregory Corso, who came and never left, and Allen Ginsberg was there, William Burroughs, Diane DePrima, Abby Hoffman. So these were just some people that came through Europa, who came through the house, and they would have big parties at the house. They'd have these champagne benefits where they would fill the bathtub with bottles of cheap champagne and sell, tickets to come to the party, and all the proceeds of the party would go to support the Beats, or however that worked.
Feed the beats.
And yeah, we just have big parties and lots of poetry and lots of drinking and drugging and dancing and parties at the house. So I was, at the time I was 8, 9, 10, and just kind of hanging out with all the Beats children. For the first time, it was the biggest social situation for me. So there'd be all the Beats partying, and then there'd be all the teenagers running amok at the housing development. There was a pool, so we'd take over the pool, and just, it was crazy. In my, like when I was 19 or 20, I used to play out with my boyfriend, Garrett, who was a whole other chapter. Just, that young, crazy, abusive relationship you have always at the beginning. But he could play guitar really well, and he did the guitar percussion stuff. So I felt like I was, getting something for him living off of me, so it worked out well.
With this tail between his legs, skanky cat. But don't be running around. I'm gonna catch a pretty kitty, gonna feed her to the prey. Chase her wild out with the tail between his legs. I'm gonna ride the pretty bone where the sun will always stay and catch another hound.
And so we'd go, but it was always just like mortifying and horrifying, and I wouldn't play guitar, and I just never felt right just singing. So I kind of made a point to be, to have a guitar. So sometimes I would just go to a gig and hold the guitar, or play it really, I was more of a finger picker at the beginning. I'd play my little folk songs with the finger picking, and and then when I was able to shake myself out of that relationship and started working at the Fox, then you'd see your singer-songwriters come through, and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's what I want to do.
And Wendy was a bartender, and she was serving drinks. And I remember noticing her because she looked Hapa to me. She had this Hawaiian look to her, and I was like, I remember seeing her and being attracted to that Hawaiian side and getting to know who she was, and she was just this bartender. And so every time we came to the Fox, I'd run into her. She kind of looked like she was bartending and helping run things here and there, and I remember seeing her there. And then I saw an ad, like this little ad in Westward. It was this cute ad where she was stretched out in this, I think she was holding these rails or something, and she had this white tank top on, and she was kind of looking in camera, and it kind of looked like a cool picture. And I'm like, Wendy Woo, the bartender, she's a singer. I was like, wow, okay, gotta go check her out.
Yeah. So by the time I was in Boulder and I was working at the Fox, I worked together my first 3 songs, which I don't even know if I play them anymore. But one of them was Down and Dirty, so I do, with the guitar percussion. And 2 other songs, a blues song called Scat Cat, and a folk song called Loneliness. And that was my 3-song set. So I'd go and I started opening for people with my little, and I'd end with my play my blues. And I think I had a lot of energy, and I'd kind of step into the stage and just really get turned on by it, and just be able to really, emulate energy, even though I wasn't very good.
I look at her as a performing artist, and I go, wow, wow, you don't see, again, she's got this way of connecting with an audience that is so rare and so vibrant and so real. And that is such a pleasure to see, because too often I see bands that have a veil in front of them on stage and they don't get past that front of the stage and really connect with an audience.
'Cause I just spent the last of my dollar. I'm smoking my last smoke. Someone drank just the last bit of coffee. It's been so damn long since I tasted that sweet smoke. I am down, I'm down and dirty. I am down and blue. I am down as I am down and dirty. My fingers all black and my soul is kind of blue. I warm my hands by the fire cans, asking for a nickel to another land. We will roll and roll again, roll that lucky dice, 'cause maybe they'll be taking us to paradise. I am down and dirty. I am down as I am down and blue. I am down and dirty. My fingers all black and my soul is kind of blue. With a storming in my stomach, but my lips, they're fine. Wrapped around the bottle of some whiskey or wine. We are sleeping under tables and living life in dark holes. I said, who's to ever say who's got less or more? I am down, I'm down and dirty. I am down and blue. I am down as I am down and dirty. My fingers all black and my soul is kind of blue. Thank you. Thank you.